This is a very special edition of Curiosities. I'm joined by my good friend, Ethan Hargis. Is it Hargis or Hargis?
Hargis.
Hargis, excuse me.
Sometimes,
Ethan Hargis.
sometimes I'll be like, how the fuck do people get that wrong? And I'm like, it is a weird name. It's how it's spelled, but it's also like so many different ways to say it.
Yeah. Well, I meant no disrespect, Ethan.
Oh, good.
Of course.
I used to get Jorge.
So, Ethan, one of the things I want to talk about a couple of things real quickly, but I wanted to get your take on what you consider to be good music today, and what you compare that to. Like, I'll give you an example. Like,
No,
I'm afraid to give you an example.
I was thinking about this the other day at work because with where I work, like, there's the work playlist, but then everyone else can go on to plug in and listen to whatever they want to listen to. So I think about a lot, like, what makes me enjoy music? And at first it was all like, I just had a disdain for like mumble rap, like, but then I started thinking about it more. And what I think is good music, what makes me enjoy a song is lyricality to it, a melody, and just like a good flow to it. And I realized that it's that and not, because I used to just like dislike mumble rap, because it's just people going like over a beat. I'm like, it just kind of sounds at this point.
Yeah.
But then one of my coworkers, he listens to death metal, and he would put that on, and I'd be like, this is just also noise. And like, that's not just like me hating on metal. Like System of a Down, I genuinely love System of a Down.
You love System of a Down.
It's one of my favorite bands. I think that their music is fucking phenomenal.
Okay.
But there's like, if you listen to their songs, there's like a flow to it. There's like a lyricism to it. There's like themes in it. It doesn't sound like just regular noise. There's like, I don't know, underlying chord transitions that really make sense.
I was gonna say, what we would reference it to. System of the Down's been around a long time, dude. They've been around probably like longer than you've been alive.
Yeah,
I'm thinking. Yeah. When I was growing up, like when people talk about like Led Zeppelin, those are all the classics, Pink Floyd, and they're still relevant today. I mean, if you think about it, is my hat on right? When you think about it, like Pink Floyd, what are the standards? Like, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, AC/DC,
Metallica.
Those are your like standard. That's the bar. Mm-hmm. Where would you? I don't know if System of a Down. I know it's your favorite band.
Not my favorite,
but could you even put them in that conversation?
I think when you're debating classics to modern music, I really do think it's very hard to compare them. Mm-hmm. Because when it comes to like the classics, there's like you said, you can name in one sentence all like the classic rock bands.
Sure.
Because there's like not that. There's a lot of bands at the time, but there's not a lot that made it into being considered a classic. And meanwhile, I feel like nowadays, with music technology advancing the way that it has, there are so many genres of music, and everyone can find what's perfect for them. Because like, while the classics, they're objectively good music, and at the time it was the most popular music and everyone was listening to it. Now, and again, like, just to go back a little bit, you had radio stations back then. Like, yes, you could buy albums, you could buy the actual music themselves, but to explore it, you had to listen to the radio. And the radio, again, as a business, they listen to what's most popular. Now, you can listen to whatever you enjoy.
Yeah, well, see, here's the thing, though, Ethan, talking about the radio stations, is some radio stations, especially before it got corporatized.
Yeah.
Before it got corporatized, individual radio stations, depending on the region, actually could play music from some independent label or even from major labels, but something that nobody had ever heard before, and actually generate enough people like, whoa, who was that? And then they just keep it on rotation, and then before you know it, they blow up. You get like REMs, and you get bands like that that started in the college circuit and kind of just rolled on that. Now, I mean, my memory is a little shaky on that right now, and some of the other bands that I know came out that way. And certainly, I think that's where. Are you familiar with the term payola?
No.
Okay, so payola came into relevance in the earlier days of music, and when I say earlier days, I'm talking about going from the 70s on.
Yeah.
Because these radio stations, see, record producers and record labels are figuring out, okay, we can if this phenomenon is happening on a small scale. Maybe we can make it happen on a much bigger scale maybe we can manufacture it. And so they would start paying radio stations to play certain
Yeah.
bands, certain people.
Yeah.
And that just generated all this up, trending. So long before the hashtag trends, they would pay radio stations to play certain artists, and then those artists would become big stars.
Yeah.
Wasn't a foolproof formula. I'm sure they spent money on these people. Like, man, these guys are trash. They can't sell a record to their mother.
But when it worked, it worked.
But when it worked, they made bank. And I think that's where the greed came in, and that really, I get when you think about it now. People say, "Oh, anybody can record something on their computer, and then they just crank it out on the internet." But there's so much of that. Who has time to actually find this good music? And radio stations are just corporatized now. All they want to do is just play certain music for commercials, generate revenue. That's all they care about. And I think
radio stations my mom and dad listened to when I was a kid are still playing the same songs that they were playing when I was a kid.
And they're going to continue playing them. And so they're not going to discover any new talent. It's like they're not interested in it.
It's a weird thing now. I feel like people have grown used to stability and don't like taking risks, which is, in a world as corporatized as ours is now, that is awful for business. Like, yes, the people who are up top and the people who are making the music, just get richer, but the people trying to start, it is very, very hard to do that.
Well, in talking about what you're saying about people don't want to take risks, in the music business, it's such a razor thin margin to even make a profit. Those that can make a profit, that why would you take a risk?
Especially with how Spotify,
because music is free.
Yeah, especially with how Spotify is now, where I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but I know that they for small creators and people who don't have a record and people who aren't making money on other sources, you make abysmal money just from listeners. And it's you can have an artist who has a consistent follower base, people who listen to them all the time, but if they're just small, if they have less than 50,000 views a month, then
yeah, you get $1.50 or something.
Yeah.
It's
and
silly.
here you put your heart and soul into it, and you have people who love you and recognize it, but it's just
all those platforms are making money. Come on. They're all making money. They're just not letting the artists. And they've always exploited artists. And I know as a musician myself for many years, I'm retired from playing music. And I should have retired a long time before I actually did. So Ethan, you're a young man. You're only 20 years old. I mean, I'm sure when you think about these big bands and you see these big concert, videos from back in the day, you must in your mind you must think, wow, what it must have been like. Do you ever stop and think, man, it must have been really nice to go to one of these outdoor concerts and not be trashed,
That's another thing. Just the outdoor concert thing, the amount of money you have to spend to go to one of those artists, because these are artists that they're big. Big artists are going to go to the biggest venues, and now it is just so expensive.
So if you were going to spend money, Ethan, who would you spend the money to go see?
I actually I'm fortunate enough where I like indie music. I like bands. I just happen to gravitate towards smaller bands, people that aren't that big. And there was one time where my sister, she's in the bigger artists. She wanted to go to a concert and she wanted to take me with her. And I'm not going to give specific numbers, but for me, my sister, and for her boyfriend who was also going, it was 4 digits. Wow. It was over $1,000 for cost. It was me and my sister. We counted it as a Christmas and birthday present. We got nothing for Christmas, nothing for our birthday to go to this concert.
Wow.
Meanwhile, I listened to the band's tickets are $40. I'm going to one in March with my girlfriend. I think.
Well, who was this artist?
We went to see Greta Van Fleet.
Who?
Greta Van Fleet.
You hear of them before?
I think you would like them.
Have you heard of them before?
It's the people call them modern day Queen a lot. I think you would really enjoy them. But
so, anybody out there, if they're familiar with these groups?
Oh no, they're a massive.
Please drop it in the comment.
They're.
I'm sorry, man. I just feel really out of touch. I don't know. Guys my age and Kevin and all the people in the crew. When you think of a band that you would pay money to go see, I think now, even now, which I'm not a huge fan of the Rolling Stones. I do like the Rolling Stones. These guys are like ancient, man.
Yeah, why are you
These
so
guys were
hard?
around during the dinosaurs.
That's what my mom was saying. My mom,
But I would still go see them.
and my mom, she talked about that a lot. How like, it's none of the original band members, but it's still like an experience.
Well, yeah, it still is. It's still Mick Jagger. It's still Keith Richards. It's still
Is Jagger's still alive?
huh?
In my head, I thought he was dead off.
Who, Mick Jagger?
Yeah.
You're having a Nelson Mandela effect.
Wow.
So he's very much alive.
There's a lot of times where like
You're thinking of Charlie Watts. He was the drummer who died.
I'll hear about people who are older than me, and I'll just like as long as I see, like I've never heard of Mick Jagger, like any recent stories of him while I've been alive. So in my head, I just assume he's dead.
That's so bad, dude. Mick Jagger is like a living legend.
That's why, like, I feel like this just now is the first time in my life where I've heard someone reference Mick Jagger still being alive.
Well, that's something extremely wrong. Unless I'm in a different alternate universe. The dude's alive.
My mom was a Journey fan, so
Journey.
Oh
my
yeah.
God.
She has.
Don't stop believing.
Oh, don't even get her started. She
Hold on to that feeling.
my parents, my mom likes Journey, my dad likes Queen. My mom saw Queen in concert. My dad saw Journey in concert.
Oh, man.
So they're like,
It's
you
like swap.
asshole, you saw my favorite band.
Oh, I'm gonna piece this together, man.
Yeah.
I never got to see Queen. I really didn't. I was growing up. I wasn't a big Queen fan. I know members of my family went to go see Queen.
Mm-hmm.
Journey never really made me want to go see them. I'll tell you some of the people I did see. I saw Def Leppard. I saw Robert Plant. I saw Eric Clapton, Billy Idol. Oh man,
I want to start going to more concerts.
Pink Floyd. I saw them in concert.
Shit.
Back then, it was called the Joe Robbie Stadium or something like that. It was where the Dolphins played. It's huge, man. It's one of those experiences I'll never forget. Drop us a comment what you think about all this. You think music is headed in the right direction? Do you reminisce about the glory days of music? Or, you're with Ethan and say, there's still some really good acts out there. I'd like to know who they are. Maybe I might want to check them out. Drop us a like, leave a comment, share this video with others. Thank you all for hanging out. Until next time, God bless.
New Kingdom Radio Theater.